Can you see? I mean, they are pointing all to the left somewhere. Let's enter through this gateway. Let me just make a U-turn in this busy main street of Ceres. So I just have to negotiate the traffic out a bit. But yeah, it's good to be on the road feeling refreshed after a wonderful coffee at Tremor Coffee. If you ever find yourself in Ceres, you can make a stop with no worries at Tremor Coffee to get very good coffee. In the previous video you would have seen was the early morning trip from Paarl to Ceres, which took us through two passes, the Tweeskloof Pass as well as the Mitchells Pass. But that was all busy roads, tar roads, and maybe a little bit more stressful to ride, especially if I'm just looking for a relaxed ride. But I made it safely to Ceres, and for this trip we first have to get out of Ceres. I have some very interesting destinations. I call destinations because I'm going to make a bit of a detour before I get to my final destination today. So yeah, Ceres is quite a big town and a main hub in this area of fruit producers. It is very famous, of course, for producing apples, pears, peaches, and of course also the place where the famous Ceres fruit juices are produced and distributed not only across South Africa but really exported all over the world. Maybe just an interesting little fact about Ceres. Of course, Ceres is the Roman goddess of agriculture, and I think it was a fitting name, of course, for referring to this fertile valley. The trip for today is going to take us all the way into the Cederberg. This first part of the road will take us from this area where Ceres is, which is known as the Warmbokkenveld, up the Gydo Pass. So we are yet riding another pass, and I will talk about the Gydo Pass when we get there. But that takes us a bit to the higher levels and the so-called Koue Bokkenveld. Now the Koue Bokkenveld is not called the cold Bokkenveld for no reason. That is an area where it can get extremely cold during winter. But before we head on to the Cederberg, my plan is to actually first turn off to the Witzenberg Valley. I've never been there, so I'm looking forward to that, and I will talk about that area a bit more when I get there. For now, it is about first getting out of Ceres and getting to the Gydo Pass. And the Gydo Pass is only about 18 kilometers or so outside of Ceres. So I've ridden only about 6 or 8 kilometers or so, and this brings us to the town of Prince Alfred's Hamlet. Quite a pleasant little main road going in here. Yeah, it's quite welcoming. There's not many towns on the route from here into the Cederberg, so Prince Alfred Hamlet is basically the second last town I will cross through. The next town will be simply called Op-die-Berg, or on the mountain, and I have to fill up with fuel there because there will be no fuel stop after this. I hope you can see the GPS here in front. This is what motorcycle riding should be about. I would think. I mean, lots of turns, and all these turns, if you come from this side, is associated with steep climbing. So yeah, making good progress. You may be able to see the road there in front where we will soon be going up. Now the Gydo Pass, it might look like a very modern road and modern pass these days, but it is actually very old. It was built in the same year, 1848, as the Mitchells Pass, and it was also built by Andrew Gettysbane. He's probably the most famous guy in South Africa when it comes to the first passes that were built. Bainskloof Pass is of course the most famous one, but this one and the Mitchell's Pass are also part of his work. Gydo, the name Gydo is quite a strange word. I've never heard it before, and apparently there's also not quite good consensus on what the origin of this name Gydo Pass is. Now there are two theories about this. The one is a reference to the old San language that was used here, where Gydo might refer to steep incline, and then there's a completely different suggestion, is that the word Gydo refers to the euphorbia plants that you get in this area. Now euphorbia, I'm not so familiar with plants, but what I've learned is that a common example of a euphorbia plant is of course a poinsettia. Now poinsettia is the plant with red leaves, and I think it's quite a pretty plant. So yeah, I don't know which one I refer in terms of the name. It certainly has a very steep incline, but I also like the reference to the euphorbia class of plants. Obviously this road has been completely resurfaced and the work seems to be basically done, apart from the lines that still need to be painted. We are 500 meters away from the top of Gydo Pass, but just look back at the views. From this vantage point one can actually see all the way back to Matroosberg, and in winter it makes for beautiful viewing, as you can then clearly see snow-capped mountains in that area. But let's make a quick stop here at the top of Gydo Pass. From here you can see all the way to Prince Alfred Hamlet. This time of the year, when it is now late summer, it is looking very yellow, but in winter it's completely different. Then it is just green patches as far as the eye can see, and of course then you also have the snow-capped mountains, mostly to the back of me, where there to Matroosberg. Gydo Pass, I think, is a very effective way of making the transition from Ceres into the higher lying areas, and then getting a bit more into the wilderness. Up until now it was quite a busy ride, but it will hopefully be a bit more quiet now, and of course getting to the quieter back roads is what I'm looking forward to. But yeah, just enjoy this view a bit with me. That was now quite a pleasant leg stretch there at the lookout point here at Gydo Pass. The little detour that I spoke about earlier is of course the turn off to the Witzenberg Valley. Now this is only about 2 kilometers from here. Now the Witzenberg Valley is the same as this valley, apparently a very fertile valley. And the interesting thing about the Vitenberg Valley is you can actually only enter it from one side, from this Vitenberg Valley road side, because it is completely secluded amongst the mountains. So I'm quite keen to go and have a bit of a look. Okay, so we've reached the Vitenberg Valley road turn off. So you have to cross over this mountain. As I said, this valley is completely secluded and you cannot enter it without crossing some mountain somewhere. But yeah, this road you can see is actually disappearing into the rugged rocks there in front. Oh, hitting a bit of a headwind now suddenly. I hope you can still hear me. Yeah, just look how rugged this is. So you have these fertile valleys and then there's really rugged mountains to cross to get to them. this is just a lovely little ride. I just like, or let me say, I love this introduction to the mountains that we are still going to see today. Yeah, now steep decline, racing into the Witzenberg Valley. Yeah, you can just see the fertile fields there across, but how it is then also just closed up by another mountain range at the back of it. Today I'm not going to ride into the Witzenberg Valley. I'm going to make a stop here at the Sip Cafe, which is just here in front on our left, I think. I'm not going to stop for coffee again. I just wanted to come and have a look, because when I checked on possibilities for coffee here, this Sip Cafe came up as quite a prominent one and with lots of favorable reviews. This is Sip Cafe. So yeah, although the Witzenberg Valley is secluded, you will be able to get some coffee here. Okay, so this was just a very quick detour. I'm now back on the busier R303, just on the top of Gydo Pass. It is another 25 kilometers or so to the town of Op-die-Berg. Important that I don't forget to get some fuel in Op-die-Berg. Yeah, so riding this Honda CRF 300 rally has been an absolute joy. I bought this bike about 5 months ago and I just love cruising with it. So even on the open road it can cruise easily around 100 kilometers an hour, and I can take it up to 120, but it's not a fast bike. The big advantage of this bike is that it's so versatile. You can ride on any road conditions, but it is built to make a longer journey possible. One of the most important features of this bike is, of course, its relatively large fuel tank of 12 liters. This means that this bike can go relatively easily beyond 350 kilometers on one tank of fuel. This makes it quite versatile and convenient to go on a bit more longer back road journeys where fuel might not be that easy to get. You have to make a bit of a stop here, unfortunately, but hopefully it will be a short one. Yeah, so after quite a bit of a wait, just a little bit, probably between 10 and 15 minutes, we are on our way again. This stop-go is practically at the town of Op-die-Berg. Hopefully there will not be more of these stop-goes along the route. Seems like this stop-go is going straight past the town. I might have to wait when I continue on my journey, but I have to go in here to just check on what fuel I can possibly get. Okay, no, it should still be open. Yeah, so this was a quick fill up with fuel, but although this is a quick one, I think I'm gonna have to wait again. Kan ek daai kant toe gaan? Kan ek gaan daai kant toe? Dankie, dankie, dankie. Oh, I'm lucky. So people are actually waiting still to turn left. So this was the town of Op-die-Berg. To get to Cederberg, you need to make a right turn here. Yeah, so it seems like the roadworks is continuing on this road, so hopefully the Cederberg road is okay. Yeah, so I made quite steady progress on the tar road, but the dirt road is starting here in front, so I will probably have to take it a bit slower. And of course, we want to savor the views and beautiful things there will be to see along the road. At the start of the dirt road, it's still another 20 kilometers to go to Aankoms Farm Stall, so I'm looking forward to making a stop there maybe for a cool drink or so. But for now, let's enjoy the dirt roads. Great. Now, there's nothing like a dirt road to bring instant, what is it, a feeling of isolation, maybe a bit of adventure, but also to feel, yeah, we are already now getting away from busy places. And what a better place to start doing this than at the southern reaches of the Cederberg. It feels like you are being teased by a few spectacular rock formations already, as if the mountain is putting you in. I think it just helps to create a bit of a sense of anticipation. The Cederberg might not be the highest mountains you will find in South Africa, but I think it's claimed to have some of the most spectacular rock formations to be found anywhere in the world. I think is an accurate one. No matter where you go in the Cederberg, you are always surprised by just the extraordinary variation in rock formations, rock arches, cave-like structures. And this already starts from this area. Just interesting the way that these rocks are all orientated. It's as if it wants to point to something to the left, up in the sky somewhere. Yeah, I think one can let your imagination run wild here. You can see things in these rocks, images that your mind can conjure up. Can you see? I mean, they are pointing all to the left somewhere. Let's enter through this gateway. We are now very close to Aankoms Farm. It's only about 3.5 kilometers. But what I would like to tell you about is a bit more about this area, because this is seemingly not so well known, or most well known of the Cederberg is this extraordinary area here that is called Zooridge. Towards our right here, if you pass this ridge, you get into an area with the most spectacular rock formations that you may find anywhere in the Cederberg. It is an area that is very strictly controlled, or access is very strictly controlled. You will see that the turn-off to Zooridge farm is actually here in front, and it is home to the Mouton family. And the lady at Aankoms Farm Stall, her name is Adriette Mouton, and she manages the access to the Zooridge area. Unfortunately, you cannot enter with a motorcycle, so they don't allow that. But on my other channel, the Backroad Chronicles channel, we have visited Zooridge and we made some videos on this area. We were absolutely blown away. So I will show you a few images on those videos, but I will also make sure to put the links to those videos down below. If you want to visit Zooridge, make contact with Adriette at Aankoms Farm Stall. I'm going to make a stop there. I assume she will be there now. It's also a place where one can get some fine coffee and cool drink and so on. Yeah, I see the time went on to 20 to 1, and I didn't have a breakfast this morning. I did take my coffee there in Ceres, but I must say it will be good to have something to eat now. I did pack myself apricot jam sandwiches and some nice boerewors. So I will see whether I can just have a bite to eat of that also here at Aankoms Farm Stall. But one cannot help but feel that time has stood still here. Let me make a stop here. I don't know if you can hear the quietness. Yeah, after a bit of a busy road through Ceres and so on, it is so tranquil and welcome to stop here. So yeah, I'm going to have a look inside. As I mentioned, Aankoms Farm Stall is the place to come to if you want to learn more about the Zooridge area, but I think it's also a very welcome stop if you're going further north up into the Cederberg like I'm doing today. So I'm going to go and see whether I can grab a cool drink there from Adriet. Yeah, so quite a welcoming little stoep area, and obviously this house must be one of the original houses that were built here. It must be very old. And just look at this very nice little piece of lawn even here. And then of course the height of these doors are quite low. Had a wonderful chat with Adriet here at Aankoms Farm Stall. What a friendly lady. Had a cool drink. She says today is actually a bit of a quiet day, so I think she also welcomed maybe the chat. Let me have a bite to eat and then also just have a bit of a more look around.